Hey, it's Dustin from Parts Doctor, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to test and replace the bake oven element in this Frigidaire range. It's super simple. I'll show you step by step, so let's jump right in. Oven baking elements can fail over time due to repeated heating and cooling, which weakens the metal and eventually causes burnout. On most ovens, the bottom element is referred to as the bake element, and the top element is called the broiler element. In this video, we'll show you how to test and replace the bottom bake element. If your element isn't working properly, first check for visual damage such as warping, cracks, breaks, or splintering. Power surges, grease spills, moisture, or poor oven ventilation can also lead to overheating and failure. If your element passes the visual inspection, stay tuned because later in this video we'll show you how to use a multimeter to test your element before replacing it. If you need to purchase a replacement oven bake element for your Frigidaire range, you can check out our website, partsdoctor.com, where we offer fast shipping and only sell manufacturer-approved genuine replacement parts for all major appliance brands. Tools needed for this repair: a T15 and T20 Torx bit or screwdriver, 1/4-inch nut driver, a multimeter if you'd like to test your oven bake element. This video features replacing electrical components, so please disconnect your appliance from the power source before beginning. There will be sharp edges, so consider using gloves or other personal protective equipment. After disconnecting your range from the power by either turning it off at the breaker or unplugging the appliance, pull the range out to be able to fully remove the back panel. On this model, there are 3 different fasteners holding the back panel onto the appliance. There are 2 different style screws that use a T15 and T20 size bit and 6 screws that have a 1/4-inch hex head. The 3 along the top are shorter black screws, and starting down the sides there are 4 longer black screws attaching the top of the back panel to the appliance. Along the sides of the bottom half of the panel are 6 1/4-inch silver fasteners. You may want to snap a photo with your device for reference of where each style of fastener is mounted before removing them. Remove all the fasteners, but leave the top middle screw for last. Once that fastener is removed, carefully move the back panel away from the appliance. Set the back panel aside. Please use caution because the edges of the back panel can be extremely sharp. Near the bottom of the appliance, there are 2 wires connecting to the back of the oven bake element. You may want to snap a photo of the connections for reference later. Inspect the connections for any corrosion or signs that the terminals or wires may have been damaged from overheating. If the connection has become loose, the wires, connections, or terminals on the element could have become corroded, and that can affect the appliance's ability to heat up due to the poor connections. If the connection between the element and the wire is damaged or heavily corroded, you may want to replace the connectors to assure that the connection between the element and wire is tight, which will prevent damage in the future. Firmly hold the terminal on the element and pull the metal connector on each wire until they are fully disconnected from the heating element. If the terminal is hard to remove, firmly hold the element and use a pliers to pull the connector off of the element. With both of the connections removed, you can use your multimeter to test the element. Set your multimeter to the ohm setting and hold a probe on each connection. If your multimeter is not an auto-ranging multimeter, set it to the lowest setting. If your element is good, you should have an ohms reading of around 22 ohms. Most 2000 to 3000 watt baking elements should read between 19 to 29 ohms. If you do not get a reading at all, or it is outside of this range, your element is most likely bad and should be replaced. Before removing the element, lift and move the oven insulation away from the element terminal so they do not get caught on the insulation when you pull the element out. To access the element, open the oven door and either remove or move the oven rack so you can access the fasteners holding the element to the rear of the oven cabinet. The oven element is secured to the rear of the oven cabinet by 2 T20 screws. Remove both screws and set aside. Your element should now be able to be removed by pulling it straight forward. If you need to purchase a new oven bake element, you can check out our website, partsdoctor.com. We'll leave a link in the description below. You want to make sure that you're searching with the full model number from the tag on your appliance to be sure you're getting the correct part. To install your new oven element, Be sure that the metal tabs are pointing up and slide the connectors of the element through the back wall of the oven. Start one of the T20 fasteners in the metal mounting plate of the element. Before tightening it all the way, start the second screw. Note, to align the mounting holes, you may need to slightly lift the rear of the element. Fully tighten both screws. Replace or move back both of the oven racks and then close the oven door. At the rear of the appliance, slide the insulation over the terminals of the element and tuck the sides of the insulation back into place. Reattach the terminals by supporting the bottom of the connectors and slide the connectors on. If you do not support the connections, your element might lift and slam back down on the oven floor, causing damage. Check to see if the connections are secure to the element. To reattach the back panel, align the holes in the top corners of the back panel with the black screws in the back of the oven's control panel. Starting in the center of the top of the back panel, insert a black T15 screw into the mounting hole to hold the panel in place. Insert the other T15 screws into the corners of the back of the oven's control panel. Be careful not to over-tighten any fasteners. Moving down the sides, insert the longer black T20 large threaded screws. There will be 2 on each side. Finish by screwing in the 1/4 inch silver screws down the sides. There are 3 on each side, or 6 total. Reference your photo from earlier if you need to. Slide the appliance back and reconnect the power. Finally, test your appliance by turning on the oven and seeing if the element starts to heat up. Your oven is now ready for use. That'll do it for today's video. As always, I'm Dustin with the Parts Doctor. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.